Hello, welcome to today's live event. My name is Maria Rodriguez. Today we're having a conversation among 4 kidney dietitians. I'm waiting for them to join. Hi. So I'm waiting for Jen. Can't hear me. Oh no.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Let me see. I can hear you now. So just waiting for Melanie and Jen. To join. So welcome everyone who's joining.
Hey. All right. I think I'm gonna put. Oh, maybe I'm not gonna put my headphones in because they're dead. But I can hear you fine. Okay, cool. I want to make sure there's not a lot of feedback on here. So
Let me see.
that was my bad. Okay.
So we're
How are you both doing?
Melanie. Let me see.
Yeah. Well, we could probably get started while I think I saw her pop on, so she's probably joining in, right?
Yes, so you guys can start and I'll check to have her join.
All right, Jen, you want to get started? Okay. So we, as a group of renal dietitians, thanks to Maria, who kind of spurred this conversation with us, we decided to come together for you guys tonight and just kind of chat, share with you about a little bit more about each of us, because we know renal dietitians are hard to find, but we do exist. So we are each going to just kind of share about our own backstory and what we have all been up to in the renal world. So I am Jen. I run plant.powered.kidneys on Instagram, and I run the Facebook group Plant Powered Kidneys. And I have been in renal for basically all of my RD life. I started pretty soon after the long-term care and hospital work in dialysis, and that kind of spurred me into the private practice, focusing on helping people with chronic kidney disease to stay off of dialysis for as long as possible. And I don't know about you guys, I've told people my story before. I decided to take on the challenge of the dialysis dietitian position because I was terrified of the renal diet. Like I did not want to go anywhere near it. To me, it was probably one of the most intimidating diets. I felt like I just learned nothing about it in school. And then to have this job that brought in this whole idea of the renal diet to me, I was like, okay, let's do it. And if I can learn it and I can teach it, then I know I've mastered it, which we know is not quite the case because it's always changing, but it's definitely part of it. So that's how I got into it. And that's still what I really love about it. I really love the challenge and that it's so deep. It's so deep of a diet. And it's just so intricate, and it's not cookie cutter. It's not anything like one size fits all, which makes it so much more interesting to work with people with it and to help them learn their own best renal diet. And that's what I really, really enjoy, is not just going through the same motion all the time. Even though we focus on renal, it's not the same thing for every single person. And I really, really enjoy that. I really feel like, well, let me put it out to both of you. Do you want each of us to take a full chunk of time going through everything, or do you guys want to kind of chime in with your stories?
Yeah, I think we can all chime into the stories. I'm trying to get Melanie to join. Hopefully she can join. But yeah, Jen, where are you living right now?
I am living in Kentucky now.
Perfect.
You're all over the place. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Oh my gosh. And that's the thing about virtual practice that I'm just like, thank goodness I didn't open an office, because as soon as I open it, I'd have to shut it down. So the virtual is really, really fantastic. And we'll probably only be here for about a year before we move again. So wow, that's just the way it is.
So go ahead, Michelle. Where are you right now? And then how you got to be a kidney dietitian?
Yeah, so I'm in Southern California. I've been here my whole life and I don't plan to go anywhere, but we'll see. So I kind of like Jen, I've all but the first year of being a dietitian, I've been in the renal field. So about 5 years as a renal dietitian, 6 years as a dietitian. And for me, I actually was first introduced to renal nutrition from my grandpa who has kidney disease. And it's funny because kind of how all this goes for full circle, but he had high potassium levels and was given this handout, of the foods he can't eat.
Oh.
And it's funny because it was, avocados and tomatoes and all these fruits and vegetables. And he was 80 living on his own. And he's like, I don't eat fruits and vegetables. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, I don't eat any of that stuff. So we go to his house and we, raid his cupboard and fridge, and he's eating, canned soups and canned chili, and he would barbecue a giant steak or eat just cheese and crackers. And so it kind of got my wheels turning just in the field of renal nutrition, but especially because the information he was provided was not relevant to him. So that kind of prompted me. And so I did an elective rotation in dialysis in my internship, and then went into that, worked in dialysis, and then transitioned to private practice. So kind of same as Jen, that way I could work with people to delay or prevent dialysis from ever being needed in the first place. And same thing, I agree, it's a challenge. It was one of those things when I did work in the hospital that you're like, oh God, I have a renal patient or someone, and you're just like, what do I do? And it's confusing. And I think what I really love about it is that nutrition therapy makes a huge impact on kidney health, and you see concrete results, right? Like you can tell what someone is doing and the changes they're making. You see it in their labs, you see it in how they're feeling and their energy levels. And I love that you can see that, so concretely, but also because it helps people live longer, feel better, be more confident in their health overall, and just that it makes a really big difference. So
yeah. That's so cool. Great. It's so great. Celebrating our clients' success is like the ultimate high.
Yeah. And when you get to see their confidence in choosing what they're gonna eat, and they feel like when we let them go, that they can do it on their own, that's a great feeling too.
Yeah, it really is. Well, Maria, you got to tell us about yourself.
So I am in Puerto Rico, San Juan, Puerto Rico. My first language is Spanish. So if I have any of my followers who want to ask or say something in Spanish, I told them to go ahead and write it in Spanish. I would gladly answer it in Spanish. So I started in dialysis also. So when I was doing my master's degree in Chicago, I applied to a lot of jobs and got an opportunity as a bilingual dietitian in one of the dialysis centers. So there I had a lot of Mexican patients, dialysis patients. So I was glad to speak Spanish to them, and they were grateful, to have a dietitian that could understand their primary language. So after that, after I finished my master's degree, I returned back home, and then that was the benefit of working in dialysis, that I got to transfer within the dialysis company. So that was a plus. And then I remember one of the nephrologists one time coming into the office, into the dialysis, my office in the dialysis center, and telling me, I need you to see this patient. And he put her name and her phone number, and I had to figure out how to see her. So after that, I saw the need, you know, of doing pre-dialysis. So that's why I now, I still practice dialysis part-time, but I really love in my private practice to be able to teach what is like the healthier type of foods that you should be eating, or diet that should be eating to preserve your kidney health. So it's, I like my dialysis job right now, which is different because I get to have interns. So I teach also there. I get to also talk to the fellows that are training there. So I am putting a little bit of nutrition curiosity in them. So I love that part that I could get to teach in all those different places. So and the best part, I think, is what you guys were saying, you know, people come to us like very confused, and they have read so many things, and just trying to like tell them what is specific to them, you know, and what is really important. I think that is so awesome to get to do.
Yeah, definitely. And that's cool that you get to teach some of the fellows and you know, physicians and that sort of thing, because it's, I think that's a whole other side of it that's so important, is that physicians and nephrologists are really valuing and understanding how important nutrition is for people with kidney disease. And so I love that you're able to teach them that.
It's one of my favorite parts of the dialysis job, because yeah, sometimes dialysis could be hard, you know, for so many years. So I think those are like the cool parts of the job.
Yeah, I mean, you're at least letting them know that there are renal dietitians out there that see people before dialysis. Because I don't know about you guys, but I hear it all the time that people say, oh, my doctor said I don't need a dietitian until dialysis, and then there's one for me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, but there's so many other opportunities that we have. Like, why do we need to wait until dialysis is already happening to then start talking about nutrition?
Yeah, exactly. And that was, I know we were going to kind of share, like, I think it was like one thing that, or we wish people knew about, you know, kidney health and nutrition. And I would definitely say, yay, you're on.
I made it.
Yay. Well, perfect timing, because we all just finished introducing ourselves. So
No idea what you all heard.
So Melanie, we were introducing ourselves. So just say,
Uh-oh.
Oh, gosh.
let me see.
Am I here? Oh gosh.
Kind of.
Okay. Are we good?
I can hear you, but you're frozen.
Okay. Technology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I don't know what all of you were saying. But I think I really fell in love with renal nutrition because of the challenge. I think, Jen, were you saying that earlier? Yeah, I really like that it's very unique to every single person. Like the kidney. I forgot who I am. So my name is Melanie Bess. I am the kidney dietitian on Instagram, and I specialize in kidney disease, and also I have fallen into a lot of kidney stone information, which is kind of a whole specific sect within the kidney world. So yeah, it's really exciting to finally be here.
Yay.
Yeah, it's so good to have you in here.
And what state are you in?
I am
For
in
everyone
Illinois.
that's watching.
I'm in Illinois. I live in Chicago.
Great. So the next thing I was hoping to talk about is like, why do you guys think like all kidney patients should see a renal dietitian as soon as they're diagnosed? Like, why not wait?
I went first last time, so I'm passing the torch for the first time response.
I'll go first on this one. I think number one, because it's like we're all saying it's a challenge, right? It literally is probably the most confusing diet or nutrition therapy or kind of thing, like, you know, thing to live with. And so, you know, you hear one thing from your doctor and then you go online and then you're Googling, and there's things that are confusing for people with kidney disease, but then it's even more confusing when you bring in all these cleanses and kidney cleanses and all this stuff that's just like for the general population that you know, it's just so hard to decipher everything. So I think one, because it's confusing, and so that you can get actual real information that's relevant to you and also individualized for you. And I think the other reason is because there's so many stages of kidney disease, and someone who, you know, let's say has 20% kidney function can have completely different needs than someone with 80, 60, you know, 50% function. And so I think that's a big thing. And then also just the fact that nutrition and nutrition therapy makes a huge difference. And you can, especially early on, you can prevent the need from, you know, dialysis from ever being in your future if you're, you know, really looking at nutrition and optimizing your health early on.
I agree. And also how it varies depending on the reason why you have kidney disease. If it's due to an autoimmune disease, if it's kidney stones, as that's a part, you know, a different reason, and nutrition, it's different. Right. So yeah, I feel, and I've been sad about the past like 2 weeks, because I've gotten a lot of people at later stages, and when I start talking about the basic, I can see in their faces like, why didn't I know this sooner, you know? Mm-hmm. So I really wish that every single person that is diagnosed with kidney disease, they see a dietitian as soon as they can, you know, because why is this information not giving early on, you know, when there's so much opportunity, you know, and time that could be that people can make changes, and really their kidney function can last longer, you know. So that's one of the things I wish, you know. And I wanted to say that I see the work that you're doing, you know, and I'm glad that there's not just 4 of us, because there's a more kidney dietitians that are putting out the word that they exist, that you should see a dietitian. So I'm glad to see, you know, that the information is getting out there, but I wish it, you know, there would be more.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's definitely a need for more kidney dietitians. So if there's any dietitians out there listening, you should consider.
Yeah.
And I think it is, obviously, I think it's happening too slowly, but I do notice more nephrologists that I hear and talk to more people who are like, yeah, my doctor told me I need to, you know, change my diet, or I should talk to the dietitian, and they just maybe didn't know where to refer someone or where to look. So I am, you know, not as much as I would like to see, but I feel like even just in the past year, I've heard more people, you know, even physicians starting to get more on board. But I think overall it's lacking, but I think it's starting to get a little bit better.
Yeah, I totally think that is probably the hardest thing with the whole process of it, is that like we are here putting it out to tell people on our websites, on our blogs, on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. Like we are out here saying this will make such a big difference. But sometimes coming from the nephrologist, if they're the one saying it doesn't matter, don't worry about it, or I don't know of anybody. Like those are really big barriers
Mm-hmm.
for a person to have when they're trying to take care of their kidney health. And they know from us, they hear from us that we say it's really, really helpful. The sooner the better. We can address more things. We can focus on different areas instead of taking care of symptoms. We can take care of the things that could potentially lead to symptoms. Like there's so much more of the preventive side the earlier on that you see a dietitian. And sometimes I feel like doctors are still in the treating mentality instead of the preventive mentality. And we are in the preventive mentality. We still do the treating, but we're looking at the earlier side of it, of what can we do before it gets to that stage, not catch up, so to say.
Yeah.
That's exactly what first came to my mind when you asked that question. Why you wish that everyone would see a renal dietitian right away? And it's prevention. Like, even though you may already have disease, there's a lot of space in between being diagnosed for most people and dialysis. And plays such a huge role in slowing that progression of disease, managing or preventing those symptoms, and also managing a lot of other conditions that go along with it, like diabetes and hypertension, maybe kidney stones, all sorts of things. And so, yeah, it's never too early to start learning and building that relationship with your dietitian.
Yay. So, what are the difficulties you guys see with your clients when they, like, what are the most frequent things you hear from your clients? What's the most hard thing to do? Or like, how do you approach it? Like, what's worked for you, for all people that are here watching, that maybe they can say like, oh, that happens to me too, you know, like they can relate.
Potassium. I would say, I mean, as far as when you said what's the most common thing you hear, I think it's always that, like, you know, okay, I'm diagnosed, I go online, there's this list of food I can't eat, and I can't have potassium. And that's, I would say, then one of the number one things when people, like, if I ask, what have you been working on so far, or anything like that, it's always like, oh, well, I'm cutting out potassium from my diet and this and that. And so I think overall, that's one of the biggest things that, like, yes, a lot of people do need to be on a restricted potassium diet, but a lot don't. And even those who, you know, do need to be on a restricted potassium diet, there's still ways to have a you know, variety and flexibility in your diet, and especially a diet full of fruits and vegetables. And I think, again, like I said earlier, my grandpa was the perfect proof of, like, he wasn't eating any fruits and vegetables and had a high potassium. And so it wasn't, you know, this generalized thing of like, oh, fruits and veggies are bad because of that. Well, there's a lot of other foods that have way more potassium. So I think in general, potassium is a big fear, a big challenge, and it's also one of the biggest, like, misconceptions and things that isn't being individualized in people with kidney disease.
Yeah, I was thinking broad ideas, and the first thing that came to mind for me was Dr. Google, which I feel like that is just a huge barrier when people, when clients are asking me about their diet. And if I say something that contradicts what Dr. Google says, it can be a challenge to kind of reverse that thinking. So a lot of times I tell people, like, you're going to learn things that you thought it was totally different, like potassium. Like, this is going to be so different than what you thought you knew. And you've got to just trust me that I am the expert in this and that I'm here on your behalf. I'm here to protect your kidneys. That is my job. That is what you are hiring me to do, is to protect your kidneys. And those conversations where, oh, well, I read online about this and I saw online about, like, just the online garbage that's out there, honestly. It's just, that is probably the hardest thing, is just anything that's found online. It's just hitting a brick wall sometimes. So it's really tough.
I agree.
Yeah, and even if it's not like a garbage site, there are plenty of those for sure. A lot of very outdated information. You know, 10 years ago, we were telling kidney patients to not eat whole grains. now it's very, very different.
Yeah.
And so really kind of, and it's also hard working with patients who have been told by doctors and dietitians for a really long time to not eat beans and whole grains and these types of things, and saying, no, actually, it's totally fine. So I think that's a really good point of just helping people kind of shift the mindset and understand the science behind that can be really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
I find hard, like, one of the hardest things I have to work with clients, like they get the concept, like they understand, but then maybe when they go to like build their plates, you know, they have a hard time maybe combining foods or doing new recipes, you know. They get bored of eating the same thing, you know, and then they get frustrated, you know. So I find a lot of times, you know, telling them a lot of ideas, you know. I always say that I'm gonna try to give you as many ideas as I can, because I want you to have variety, you know. I want you to not just eat 5 meals, or, you know, just eat the same stuff all the time. So I think for my populations that they are mainly Spanish speaking, you know, Hispanics, recipes in Spanish, you know, like culturally appropriate, you know, that consider what foods are available here, because not all of the things that you guys have available in the US, like, don't necessarily
Mm-hmm.
are available here. So for example, types of yogurts, I sometimes see you guys with so many alternatives, and I'm like, I can't find those here, you know. So I think that is like a big difficulty I see, because I know they exist, you know, and I've written to the brands like, are you shipping to Puerto Rico? We are part of the US, you know. We are it's not hard to you know, to bring those things here. So I find that is one of the difficult parts, you know, the options and the recipes, and trying people to have like the most, you know, that they enjoy what they're eating, you know, that they really feel like they can enjoy and not feel that this is torture, or this is, you know, bad, or it doesn't taste good, you know, or it's not food that I would typically eat. So that's kind of things I find difficult for my clients in particular.
Yeah, definitely. But it's great that you have the resources and the knowledge and, you know, being there. And then you can use that dietitian side to reach out to different brands and companies and be like, hey, this is a great thing that you guys could bring here and could help so many people. And that's really great to use your RD status in that way to advocate for your clients. And I'm sure they're all really supportive and appreciative of you doing that.
I agree. I think, yeah. I love how people, it probably happens to you, and I saw a message, I don't remember from who it was and for who it was for, but it said like, thank you for the job you're doing, like, excellent job, you know, talking to, probably because it's a client of one of you guys. So I love to see those messages. So I'm glad to see people here commenting, and glad that we're doing this. So this year's theme for World Kidney Day, which is Thursday, March 11th, the theme is living well with kidney disease. So just going around the room before we can take some questions. So if you guys have questions, you can put them in the question box, and we're gonna start answering some of the questions. So one tip that you would say to kidney patients on how to live well with kidney disease.
Okay, so I guess my tip would be to start now. Like, it doesn't have to be this big far out goal. Is a lot of times we put things off because we just think to the big picture and just think whether it's food or activity level, or it's, you know, stress management or going to sleep early or whatever it is. Just pick one thing, one goal that you could do starting today. And you don't have to wait then until your next labs or your next appointment. Start today with that one thing and then just kind of progress from there. That way it doesn't feel so overwhelming. It doesn't feel that it's this long drawn out journey. Just make it in shorter increments, and it's a lot easier that way.
So Jen, do you want to go?
Well, yeah, mine would be, and I actually went on Instagram Live earlier today and did this. I just went outside. I just needed a walk. Today was a horrible business day for me. So I needed to get outside, and there's just something about fresh air and sunlight. And this is not getting into the whole vitamin D thing or anything down that road. I just really, because we could, right? But I just really feel like there's something about getting outside and spending time being outside, whether it's exercise, just getting fresh air. I think that does a lot for our attitude, for our mentality, and just kind of resets us and invigorates us. So it has nothing to do with food or diet. But I tell you what, maybe with COVID and everything about being on lockdown for so much, I mean, there's just something to being outside. And I think it does like a world of good for everybody, no matter what stage, no matter what situation, no matter your mobility. If you can just be outside, I think that makes a really big difference.
You sort of stole mine, but not completely.
We didn't coordinate our answers.
I know, we should have. I was going to say, every day do something for yourself. So whether that is going outside, or whether you like to cook, or whether you like to puzzle, like, I don't know, whatever it is that's your you time, your de-stressing time that makes you feel good, that is just for you, like, do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's difficult living with any chronic disease, and kidney disease is no exception. And so you need to be gentle with yourself and really get do those self-care practices. I think that can be really, really powerful.
I agree. I think, like, have a good relationship with your health providers, you know? I think if you have a good relationship where you feel like you can ask anything, you know, and you can get the answer that you feel that is appropriate for you, that you feel that they're answering your question, you know, that you're being heard, that they're trying to, you know, help you. Mm-hmm. So I think get those kinds of healthcare providers, you know. So, and don't be afraid to ask, you know, if you don't understand something, tell a health professional, you know. Sometimes I think I explained it perfectly and the message didn't come across, you know. So sometimes in my mind, I think you know, the client understood, but if that person is afraid to ask, or, you know, feels like the question is dumb, or, you know, whatever they feel like, that's not good. I think you should be able to, like, answer your questions and get good answers, you know. And sometimes we don't know everything.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to look for the answer, you know, because sometimes, I know you guys have had this experience, like sometimes we get some tough cases and we're like, oh my God, like, where I'm gonna find how to, you know, manage this, you know, or solve this problem. So I'm happy to say, like, I don't have the answer right now, but I will look for an answer. So be patient. Also, if we don't know the answer, we'll find one.
Yeah, thanks for putting that out there, because we are not know-it-alls by any means. If anything, I think the more we know, the more we realize we don't know. And it's just like this continuous learning. But as dietitians, we all have our CEUs, so our continuing education units or credits that we get. So, you know, when you work with a dietitian, we are staying on top of our education. We are always staying up to date. This is not like one and done. Like, we didn't just go to school and that's it. We're always learning, and we always like to pass that on to our clients to help them know what's up to date. So we're always learning.
Yeah.
That's our job.
Yeah.
To learn, really.
Yeah, really.
And I want to say also something. It's really hard to know about all the topics within nutrition because there's so much information. So, like, I know the four of us, you know, we read like kidney health, you know, we read about renal nutrition. So I know all of us are really on top of science. And science is always changing, you know. So what we're teaching right now, maybe in 5-10 years we're gonna learn something new, you know. So I think people have to understand that too, you know, that nutrition is changing, and maybe what we knew 10 years ago or 20 years ago, it's not the same thing that we know now. So yeah.
And it's nice we can refer also within each other as well. And I especially do this with stones because that, you know, Melanie, that is your expertise area. And so if you ask me specifically, I'm like, go to Melanie's page and, you know, reach out to her. But it's nice within that because we all even have within the renal nutrition and kidney nutrition, we all have even more like specialties or just areas that we have more experience working with as well.
Yeah. And different services. We all kind of help people in different ways. So depending on what someone is looking for, it's really, really helpful to have this community of dietitians to send people to, for sure.
Yeah. I know, I'm sure with you guys, I know if somebody reaches out to me and I will say, I can't take anybody right now, but go see this person, like, here's a bunch of other renal dietitians that you can check out. So if any of you watching want to connect with any of us, we can chat with you one-on-one. We can send you over to another renal dietitian who, like Melanie for kidney stones, like, oh, maybe she has some great resources for you, or an Espanol para Maria. Oh, my Espanol. You know, she has got that, and that's who we are. All a community of dietitians. This is something my husband doesn't get. He's a business guy, and he's like, how come you guys aren't like worried about competition? And it's like, we can't possibly take on CKD alone. There's way.
There's so many people that need help.
Yeah, there's no way. So
there's already not enough of us.
Exactly. So it's great that we have each other to rely on for those case studies, for referrals, for just so many resources. So I want to say thank you to all of you watching and here on the video, because just the whole community for renal on both sides is so supportive and so strong. And it's just, I mean, it's just such an honor to be serving these kidney warriors, and then to be working alongside with you guys. I think it's just fantastic.
That's so sweet. Okay, so do you guys see the hearts that are coming up?
Mm-hmm.
No?
Yes. I don't see anything.
Okay.
But you guys.
So I'm going to read some comments. There's a lot of questions here. So if you have a question, please put it in the question box, which I'm going to try to do right now. Do you guys want to answer questions?
Yeah, sure. I think we definitely have to do this again, because obviously, well, if you guys like what we're doing, can you please put like a heart? Can you put a comment and let us know that we're on the right track? But
yes.
I think this is great.
So I have here, it says, Kidney Care in the Kitchen. She says, thank you all so very much for collaborating to share current information. Much appreciated. Sorry for my English, people. So I'm going to open the there's dietitian Greta. She says, "You guys are awesome. Happy to be a fellow kidney RD." So hello.
Oh, Greta's great.
Hello.
She's in Montana.
Oh, so you guys have another dietitian there.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we have a lot of hearts. So I'm gonna open the question box. Let me see how can we do this. Okay. So do you guys see the question?
I do.
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't see the question box, but I can scroll through the comments.
Okay, so I have a question here that people can't read. So Jardine Martinez says, "How are tomatoes bad for kidneys?"
All right, who wants to touch that one?
So I think that probably has to do with potassium. And so that's going to be totally dependent on what your blood potassium levels are. If you don't have high blood potassium, potatoes are actually wonderful for your kidneys, just like any fruit or vegetable is. But if you have high blood potassium, then a lot of tomatoes, and especially in tomato sauces, might be something that you just need to pay attention to portion size too.
Yep,
Agreed.
definitely.
Okay, so let me see. Next question. Okay, so here's another question. It says, do any of y'all work with pediatric patients? I would like to see a plant-based dietitian who helps with interpreting my 3-year-old, and I can't read anything else, but I think we all work with adults, right?
We do. I don't know of a peds specific renal dietitian.
I got at one point a contact, actually I think it's from our renal dietitian Facebook group, who's out of, at least at that time, was out of Children's Hospital of LA. So whoever asked that, send me a DM, because I'm sure I can find her email address. I have no idea as far as her like practice and views on plant-based or what she does outside of the hospital that she works at, but she is a pediatric renal dietitian.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I think if kidney dietitians are few, like pediatric kidney dietitians are like scars.
Gold.
Like,
oh my gosh. Yeah, that's specialty on specialty.
Yeah, I agree. Let me see what else I can see here. This question box is fun.
I saw one that came up that I would love to answer.
Go ahead.
It came up towards the beginning, and someone said, do I need a referral from a doctor to see a renal dietitian? Anyone want to jump on that one?
So I think I accept insurance. So some insurances do require you to have a referral so we can bill the insurance. So if you're using your insurance, then you have to check. Probably it's needed, you know. But if you don't take insurance, if you're paying for the service, you know, a referral is always good in the sense that we get the picture, you know, of why the doctor is sending you, so they can give you a summary of labs, you know, or what he thinks is important at the time. So a referral is helpful, you know. But I think if you're hiring one of the dietitians that don't accept insurance, you don't, right?
I mean, my practice is cash pay. I don't require a referral from a doctor, but I do recommend it, but it's not required to start working with me. So what I often do is for my new clients, I will give them some paperwork and I'll say, hey, if you want a super bill, which is like a reimbursement option going through insurance, then I'll want to have the physician's referral on hand for that documentation. Because oftentimes, like Maria said, that's what is required. By the way, Maria, what insurances do you take? Just for all of us to know.
I take Medicare. I take the Advantages. So here in Puerto Rico, Advantage plans are big. So it's Medicare, but a local insurance, like manages the payments. So those are the ones that I accept. So I mainly see, that's why I get a lot of older adults, you know, because I accept like that kind of insurance. So yeah.
Cool. Are you able, and this is totally me just asking out of curiosity because I don't take insurance for Medicare. Are you seeing people from other states? So if I have somebody from Kansas that has Medicare, could you see them?
So there's
question.
the state lines, which I wish they didn't exist. So right now I am able to provide telehealth in Florida because I have that certification. But I haven't seen other states because I haven't gotten any requests. So what I would do is just see what are the court requirements for that state and then like see if I can do it. But I think that's like such a big limitation because if we are renal dietitians and this is our specialization, you know, why the hassle, you know? So.
Yeah.
Agreed. That's a whole nother topic, right?
Oh my gosh. Probably one off camera, at least off Instagram. So we can all like really vent about.
Okay, so here is another question. So what do you think about juicing? Who wants to take that one?
I will if no one else wants to.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
Okay, so I think that one of the biggest things to remember with juicing and kind of just think of what happens is that when you are juicing something, you're leaving the fiber behind and you're getting lots of vitamins and minerals, but you're getting all the sugar of that fruit and not the juice. And I always think I used to work at Jamba Juice in high school and college and, you know, juicing the oranges, and it would take, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 oranges to get a glass of orange juice. So it's think of you have all the sugar from 4 or 5 oranges. Yes, it's natural sugar, but it's still sugar in, you know, an 8-ounce volume glass, and then all that fibers and that pulp that's left behind, which is so important for blood sugar control and, you know, our gut health and insulin sensitivity and resistance. So I'm not pro juice at all. And smoothies, right? Blend it up in a smoothie and then you actually get the fiber along with it, or eat 1 apple instead of drinking apple juice where you're going to get, 8 times the amount of sugar. And I also think it's kind of a fad of like, oh, if you juice it, it cleanses everything and it cures everything. And it's really, the fiber is so important for overall health, but even kidney health specifically, and you don't get that when you juice.
I might add to that. I totally agree with everything. And I think in some situations it can provide very dangerous amounts of certain compounds, specifically potassium if you do have very advanced CKD, and also oxalate. I've had patients who are doing lots of green juices or green smoothies and just having very, very, very high oxalate loads and causing a lot of damage that way. So I think for juicing, like you're robbing yourself of that fiber. So that's just sad because that fiber is so good for you. Yeah. But even in smoothies, trying to be mindful of how much you're eating. Like, would you actually eat that much spinach at one time normally, or that much, whatever it is you're putting in your smoothie? So just trying to be mindful of those types of things too.
Great. Okay, so we have this one. Let me see. Okay, so I was recently diagnosed with lupus nephritis. So you guys work with someone with my condition? Yeah.
Yep.
That was easy. Okay, let me see another one.
And a lot of other autoimmune. It's actually kind of crazy, all the different autoimmune diseases that can impact the kidneys. So I think lupus is definitely a more common one, but I've seen ones that I've never even heard of before as an autoimmune disease. And so there's a lot that unfortunately impact kidney health. So
yeah, and that goes back to how it's not like a kidney diet, a renal diet. because it's so connected with that root cause of what caused the kidney problems to begin with. That's where it gets into that whole individual nutrition focus, because we can't just say, hey, everybody, eat X, Y, and Z, stay away from A, B, and C, and you'll be good to go, because there's really no way we could possibly do that with, I don't even know how many causes of kidney disease are there.
Oh, gosh,
like,
hundreds.
A lot.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane.
Yes. I have a new patient coming up, which it's a disease I've never heard before. It's Marfan disease. So I'm like, oh my God, I have to research this, you know? And she clearly said, you know, this is a rare disease, you know? And I was like, you're my first patient, you know?
You're correct.
Okay, so here is, I had a stroke, so I can't have vitamin K. Can I do plant-based diet?
I'd like to jump in on this one. Plant-based is a really big umbrella term. Even in the renal world, it might not be entirely vegan plant-based. It could just be something where we're focusing on making sure you're getting enough fruits and vegetables. Now, that being said, and saying that it's still individualized for everybody, this vitamin K, I'm guessing associated with medication, this is something I feel like kind of goes back to that old school thought where the doctor gives a handout and says, hey, don't eat any of this. And again, it's just kind of eliminating it from the diet. That is an outdated recommendation. And now we know, especially with how often vitamin K gets checked, we know how to better balance it. And it's something that is important to focus on. So while I can't say to anything that you are going through, or what your doctor has said, I would just go back to like what Maria was saying in the beginning, is ask questions and really communicate with your healthcare practitioner about these guidelines and recommendations. My favorite question is why? Just why is this recommended? Why are you telling me to do this? Why am I following this? Why am I taking this? Like, ask why until you can't ask why anymore.
Oh, so this is a cool comment. I'm just gonna read it. It says, just want to say that this is Roberta Show. Oh, I'm sorry for not spelling it correct. But Roberta says, just want to say that Michelle is my dietitian and she's been helping me so much. Thank you for being amazing.
Hi, Roberta.
That's so wonderful.
Okay.
Yay, I'm glad you guys are on here.
Okay, so then let me see. Oh, this one. Do any of you look at food sensitivities when helping create an eating plan for a client? I don't. I think that's specialized too. Like, you have to be trained to understand those kind of tests. So I don't. You guys?
Yeah, similar. I don't do that testing. So I know, I mean, the kidney RD and Justiana, she does that testing. I don't know if you guys do or not. But I don't offer that testing as part of my services.
I've recently started adding in micronutrient testing, but I don't focus on food sensitivity. I still am yet to be convinced with the research of the testing. That's what I'm wanting to see more of. This is such a hot topic for everyone watching. This is a hot topic in the RD world, in the dietitian world. Mm-hmm. The food sensitivity testing. There's some dietitians that are really, really all about it, and there's some dietitians that are really against them. So, you know, Maria, like you said, like the dietitians, the people that are really specialized in it, and they have a good, like, they can look at the science and everything. I mean, there's that. I don't know. I'm not fully convinced, because I've even had them done and it says like, oh, you have like an extreme reaction to vegan cheese. And I was like, what? Like, where is this coming? Like, first of all, how random, but like, I don't know. I don't know.
It's a hard question, but none of us do food sensitivities. Okay. Let me see what else we have. There's a lot of questions that weren't in the question box. Do you guys want to answer any more, or do we want to end soon?
I should probably wrap it up. I still have to have dinner.
Yes.
So.
Okay, so there were a lot of questions here, guys. I am not sure if we end this, if we're gonna be able to see the questions. So I am so sorry we didn't get to all the questions, because I'm looking and there were very good questions here. So,
and I can't see any, I don't know why on my end I can't see anything besides all your guys' faces, but none of the questions or anything like that. But I do on Wednesdays, on my Instagram page, I do like a Q&A Wednesday. So it's obviously general renal or kidney nutrition, not anything individualized. But if you guys, like, if we didn't get to your question, you guys want to ask it there, I put a question box up on my story, and you guys can always put that in there.
That's really cool. So before wrapping up, like, if someone wants to work with you, like, what do you provide? How can they reach you? So just like 2 to 3 minutes and we'll wrap up. So who's first? Okay, so we're gonna do so Michelle, you're on top.
Okay. Yeah, so if you, to reach out to me, you can, I'm plant-based.kidneys on Instagram, or plantbasedkidneys.com. My Facebook is plant-based kidneys. Everything's pretty much plant-based kidneys. So you can reach out to me from any of those ways. You can send me a direct message, or I have my scheduling application and scheduling link on my Instagram as well as on my website. So that's one of the easiest, most direct ways, because you can kind of just go there, fill out the application, schedule a call, and then we go from there.
Okay, and then you also have a cookbook, right? An e-book?
Yeah, I have an e-cookbook. Yeah, so an e-cookbook, and that's, again, it's in the link in my bio, or it's on my website as well.
Good. Now, Melanie, you go.
Okay, my turn. So if you want to reach me, you can certainly just send me a direct message, or you could email me. I'm the Kidney Dietitian with a period in between all the words, here on Instagram. I do not see clients individually. This is actually my side job. My main job is I work at the University of Chicago, where I do see patients. But I do offer a online kidney stone course, Kidney Stone Nutrition School. So if that's something that you're really interested in learning about and really diving into what your urine risk factors are for kidney stones and how you can really target them with nutrition, I would definitely check that out. And I also have 2 e-cookbooks specifically for kidney stones as well. And it's all about ways to sneak calcium and dairy into your diet, because that is very, very important for people who have calcium kidney stones specifically. So yeah, check that out, and I would love to meet you.
Now, Jen?
Well, you can find me at plantpoweredkidneys.com. You can also connect with me here on Instagram, of course, plant.powered.kidneys. I have a Facebook group that's also Plant Powered Kidneys. So like Michelle is plant-based kidneys across the board, I'm plant powered kidneys across the board. Right now, I am pretty booked for private clients. If you want to connect to see about what that timeline looks like, if you want to work with me, just send me a message and I'll kind of get you some more details. I don't encourage anybody to wait to see me. I think you should find a dietitian who's available ASAP. But if you need help with that, I'm happy to help connect you with people. I have my Plant Powered Kidneys course, which right now is closed, but I will be reopening it later this spring. So I'll be sure to announce that across the board, let you all know about it. And I think that's about it for me. And Maria, just really quick, I want to say thanks for coordinating this for us. This has been really, really awesome. And
thanks for saying yes.
Yeah, of course. How could I say no?
We should do it again and answer all these great that people have been throwing up
Yes.
there?
Is it going to be saved? So I am going to try to save it and then send it to all of the dietitians so they can have it also in their IG. So we're gonna figure how to do that, because this is the first time I'm doing like a 4-way live. So hopefully, yes, it's gonna be saved.
We've already had some technical difficulties.
And then, oh yes, tomorrow is happy registered dietitian day.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So thank you, Elaine E. Axel, I think. Thank you. Yes, tomorrow is registered dietitian day. So if you want to reach me, you can find me ME Nutrition PR on Facebook, Instagram. You can message me. I do see like individual clients, and all is virtual since COVID. I used to have an office, so it's now closed, and I think I'm gonna stick with online. And then I've been able to see people from all the islands, so that has been really, really cool. And then I want to encourage you, if you speak Spanish, because all of my education is in Spanish. So if you speak Spanish, during March, I am uploading 4 interviews I did in my new YouTube channel. So I interview a nephrologist. So that interview is up already. I interview a colleague, Renal dietitian from the West. So she's been a dietitian for longer. She's also a vegan. So she believes in the plant-based for kidney disease. So that interview was really cool. And then I interviewed 2 patients. They were patients of mine before having dialysis, needing dialysis. So I have a home hemo patient. So we talked about like all the changes through like his kidney journey. And he's right now finishing his doctoral in psychology. So he's big into, mental health, and well-being and mindfulness. And he has his page and his community, and he's doing awesome. Like I love what he's doing. So people can see, that you can live well even if you are in dialysis, So he's an example of that. And I have another transplanted patient. She's an advocate. So I'm really proud of her. She has been invited to a lot of stuff in the States, just advocating for kidney patients, like Hispanic kidney patients. So I interviewed her, and it's her story. I didn't know this, but she got transplanted a few days after Hurricane Maria. So in 2017, we had like a huge hurricane here. And she getting out of the island was impossible. So she got on a plane from one of these artists and got to the States. And a few days after, they called her from a transplant. She was in one of the States for her transplant. So she tells the story, and it was a great story. So if you want to watch in my YouTube channel, ME Nutrition PR, there's a link in my bio, so you can find it easier. So thank you, guys. Happy Registered Dietitian Day tomorrow. Thanks for joining, and thanks for all of you guys that have been there. Thank you for all the messages and all the questions, and hopefully we can see you soon, maybe.
Yes, let's do it
Thank
again.
you guys. It was good chatting with you.
Bye.
Bye,
everybody.